It's the Super Drive Time Show with Kaycee.
It's your number one lifestyle station, City 1051. And if you checked out our social media, I said this before, I told you before that we're going to be having a legend with us. Now, if you haven't checked it, now listen to what I have to say because I have the one and only Sean Paul right here with us, right here on your number one lifestyle station. Sean, how you doing?
Yo, bro, I'm good, man. Thank you for the time today, bro.
Okay, so I need to say this real quick, okay? This is a big deal, not just for, Nigerians listening right now, but it's a big deal for me listening because, I grew up listening to Sean Paul music or to Sean Paul songs and everything, so it's a massive one, big one, man.
Appreciate it, bro.
Okay, so
Appreciate that, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, so first off, I need to say this, okay? A few people or a few times I've watched interviews or I've listened to you talk about your time in Nigeria, that it was quite the experience, if I can use that word. So you want to talk to us? I know it's been such a long time, yeah, and you had different things to say basically about Nigeria, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything. But you want to talk to us about that? The last time you came to Nigeria?
Yeah, I mean, Nigeria is such a vibrant place. It reminds me a lot of Jamaica because we have roots there.
Yeah.
Sure. When I first went, I just don't think I was ready though.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard you when you said that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. But I've been 3 times now and looking forward to coming back soon.
Yeah.
A beautiful place, man. A good vibe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So another thing I want to talk to you about is because we have so many similarities as concerns the music, Nigerian music, Afrobeat and dancehall. We have a good working relationship where we've seen African artists, Nigerian artists work together with reggae and dancehall artists as well. So do you want to talk to us about what you think or your perception of African music, especially Afrobeat?
Yeah, for me, I've seen it as a symbiotic relationship from the very beginning of what reggae has been. People like Bob Marley, people like Sly Dunbar and Robbie, Shakespeare, Steely and Cleavage, people like Bobby Digital. All those people had certain different years that they innovated some stuff. But what they were using was African sounds, the drums, certain water drums and certain different forms of drums and how you play the bass. So then they developed it into their own thing, and the way how they play it. Now we became, reggae music and we became dancehall music and made that very popular in our own territory. And then it broke and went everywhere else in the world. And, for me growing up, African music was people like Mariam Makeba and people like, Fela Kuti. So those musics are classic, and it's the classic sound of Afro music for me. But lately, Afrobeat has sounded a lot to me like it's been influenced by what we did with dancehall music.
Yeah.
Even people like Stonebwoy is kind of spitting. He's from Ghana, but spitting in a more way how we kind of speak. And of course, our language is broken language, from English and African dialects and stuff like that. So as I said, very good symbiotic relationship in terms of you influence us, we influence you, you influence us again. Same thing. Great vibes, man. I think that's what music's supposed to do. It's supposed to bring people together.
Yeah.
For a band to happen, you have to have, the drummer, the bass, the keyboard, the guitarist. You have to come together. So I think that it's a way for all the blood that was separated a long time ago to kind of feel connected and have that feeling again. So for me, Jamaica is the most Afrocentric place in the Caribbean. We look to Africa for the teachings, bro. And you teach us through music, we take it and in turn influence you guys again. So it's a good relationship, I feel.
Well said. So I want to talk about something as well. You mentioned African music, about how it's been a big influence on dancehall as well. You talked about a symbiotic relationship, which I agree with. You mentioned names like Fela Kuti back in the day, and also Mariam Makeba as well. to name a few. But right now, the sphere of African music is kind of different. We have new names right now that are. Hopefully, we hope that these new names still affect dancehall the way it used to back in the day, because dancehall was, you could say, dancehall was top two when it comes to genre of music. Like 15 years ago, we had dancehall songs being number one in America, being number one in the UK, and everywhere basically. So, as someone who has listened to dancehall music, who has really been able to immerse himself into what dancehall and reggae has to offer, I'm talking about different spheres of music industries around the world. Who would you say has been able to be a big influence as concerns African music to dancehall right now, as concerns African music? Because we had Burna Boy, who was a big winner at the Grammys as well. So
right now, there's Burna Boy, there's Davido, there's Shatta Wale, there's as I said, I mentioned Stonebwoy, even Fuse, ODG. These people have music that is sounding very African oriented to us, and we love it, man. We've been playing Afrobeat music from it started to become Afrobeat. Then you know what I mean? In terms of the name change and the definite direction. So we've been hearing it here on our radio stations, and people have been sending it around to each other. Yo, check out this. One thing that I think that's the difference between what we do is that you guys put a lot of melodies, which I do too in my music, but some of us in Jamaica don't put a lot of melodies and leave spaces in the rhythm. You know what I mean? You guys leave spaces, and that's something I've learned again from you. Spaces in terms of in Jamaica, we like the lyrics, and we eat up every part of the rhythm. But in Afrobeat, there's spaces, and there's melodies, and that can really be impactful when someone is listening. You know what I mean? On the listener, that can impact a lot. So I think that's the reason for the strength of Afrobeat right now, and all the players that I'm speaking of. They're making great music. Loving it, looking for more too.
Fantastic.
Oh, big up to Tiwa Savage too. I follow her. I like her stuff,
Yeah, we'll even come into that in a bit. And now I talked about African music in general, and I'm going to specify about Nigeria in a bit. But first, let me ask something. Now we talked about Burna Boy, for example. We as Africans, we feel like. Let's talk about the Grammys for a bit, because we know you've had a lot to say about the Grammys over the past few years, and rightly so as well. So we as Africans, we feel like we have been marginalized in a way that we only have a certain category where we can have our music recognized by the Grammys, and
everybody's pushed into the one category.
Yeah, everybody's
Same
pushed
thing
into
with
one.
us. Same
Yeah,
thing.
so we feel like it should be a lot more. Afrobeat should be celebrated a lot more, because you want to look at it in different ways. We do the numbers, we do the recognition. We have people that want to mess with Afrobeat, if I can use that word in a way, if I can coin it that way. So we feel like we should have a lot more. Now, you've said this in the past before that you've experienced a situation where dancehall and reggae should get more recognition from the Grammys than they have been getting recognition as compared to before.
Yeah, bro.
Now we know that it reached its peak when you got your Grammy Award in 2003, I think it was, for Dirty Rock, the album, and going by how the Grammys viewed dancehall back in the day and right now, can you say you're impressed with how it is and how the recognition is for different diverse music by the Grammys?
No, still not now. I understand that the committee or the whole Grammys establishment can't keep adding new genres all the time. They want to make sure that it's not a genre that's just going to be a fad and fade away. But there's many music that's come from Jamaica itself. Mentoyard was the first one, which was barely recorded. Then we developed ska music, which was very fast-paced and party-oriented. It started to be more social commentary also, and slowed down. And then it turned into lovers rock and reggae, and it turned into dub music, and then it turned into dancehall music. So we've had a lot of genres here, but dancehall has been the dominant one, I would say, from the early 80s. It started late 70s, but really dominant in our culture in the early 80s and up to now. And also there came a time in our genre where we kind of blended the two anyway. People like Capleton and Sizzla and artists like that, Buju Banton as well, kind of blended the sounds of what reggae was and what dancehall was and blended it all together. So there was a time for me that I call it reggae dancehall. I kind of still do. But I can just imagine for African musicians and artists what it must be like, because there's different territories. All of you have different lingua and different ways of playing and styles and different subgenres. So it's just like this though. In UK, I don't think that the Grammys recognize grime music as a like there is no category for a grime artist. I think it's just urban music they call it, or hip hop.
Yeah, urban.
You know what I mean? So yeah, we've been bunched together at being called urban or being called just one thing, as in reggae, when we're a lot of different things. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, and the world will catch up when I get the chance to speak, or anybody like myself get the chance to speak on your platform or other people's platforms like this. It kind of sends a message to them that, this music has been around for more than 30 years now. We've established ourselves. We've also influenced, reggaeton and people in Trinidad are now not just doing soca music or calypso music. They're doing dancehall as well, which they call Zessin music. Also, the whole Afrobeat scene, as we've been talking about, kind of gravitating towards that vibe as well. And the pop people, people like Bieber and Rihanna and Drake and French Montana, Sway Lee, and what's his name, Ed Sheeran. All of those are dancehall oriented tracks that they're doing. So it just tends to kind of point the finger at the systematic. I feel
like you're trying so hard not to say
not
it as
to
it is.
offend
Yeah,
people, but the systematic classism that happens, man, or racism that happens in major parts of our life is coming through in the music as well. I mean, we're kind of being told that, you guys are okay, your little genre. But I think we're huge, and I think Afrobeat's huge right now too. Reggaeton is huge, and reggaeton, I think it's just Latin awards that they have. They don't have an award for best reggaeton type of thing. So again, all of this music I've been talking about, the only one that has its real proper accolades is probably hip hop music, where they have an award for best hip hop artist,
best rap album, best new artist, and stuff like that. They do.
Yeah, sorry. And so big up to hip hop. They've come a long way, and they've fought for the so-called urban music people. You know what I mean? And they're the first one through the gate to be kind of recognized by I think they're like Grammys, an institution like Grammys. And with every institution, things change in life, so they will learn. And I think that me vocalizing and other people saying Weeknd kind of boycotted them the other day. So did Will Smith. Will Smith did that way back in the day, and also Jay-Z did it. But you see him back at the Grammys now. So I don't think it's something I want to boycott, but I want to speak out against and say, recognize the people who are making this music, especially when it's influential throughout the world. If it wasn't, if it didn't move from where it is and become everywhere, then I could understand that. But with Afrobeat, with dancehall, with reggaeton, we're huge. You know what I mean? We are huge.
Okay, well said. I want to talk about something for a bit. Now we talked about the Grammys. I want to bring it back home to Nigeria, because a lot of people listening to you right now, social media is going crazy saying, "Oh, yo, it's Sean Paul, the same Sean Paul we used to bump to back in the day." Now let me tell you something. I don't know whether you know this, but Get Busy by you was a massive tune. It was a massive anthem. We didn't have social media back in the day to proper document and show how big that song was in
Yeah.
Nigeria, but it was a massive tune. Back in the day, you go to any party, you're playing in Sean Paul, you go to like any gathering, you get whatever it is, the clubs, it was a Sean Paul being played right here in Nigeria, right here in Lagos. It was absolutely amazing. Did you have an idea how big your music was or how big the impact you had in Africa was back in the day? Did you have an idea?
The first time I went to Africa, first time I came to Africa, I landed in Kenya, and Kenya was kind of a hub. We went back and forth from Kenya to Tanzania to Uganda, and then the fourth place was Nigeria, and that's the time when I learned how big those songs were. I mean, I've traveled, I've toured 23 African countries right now so far, and it was huge. You know, I mean, I remember Cameroon and Zimbabwe. I went there with Akon, and that's the first time in my life that I felt like a Michael Jackson type of person. You know what I mean?
I think I saw that video. Yeah, I remember.
There was people like outside of the hotel, and every time Akon looked out on his balcony, you would hear people say, "Ah!" And so same thing with me. And I'd never experienced that before. And to me, that was just a true feeling of elation and love for what the people felt for my music. I fell in love with just that whole vibe, you know what I mean? So I've had very great experiences in Africa, bro. Like going on the pyramids in Egypt or going to Rwanda and coming off the stage and crying because I remember seeing news reports in '94 of their civil war, and that affected me as a kid growing up. To see 800,000 people gone in one instance like that, that was something that I wanted to at least be part of the change and have people feel a happy reunion. I remember going to Angola. Angola said to me, people there said to me, you know, it's the first time in 20 odd years that a Westerner or someone from over this side of the earth came and performed, you know, some great music that was popular now all over the world because they were having a civil war there. So, you know, as I said, Africa is like, to me, a way more huger Jamaica, but of course, because I see the similarities in how we live, and the things we speak about on a day-to-day basis, and it makes me feel at home to be there. And I think Africans, like, you know, people like Two-Face Namibia came over here. I thought he was a Jamaican artist. I didn't learn that he's Nigerian, right?
He's Nigerians from here.
Yeah, I didn't learn that he was Nigerian until way after. So to me, it's the connection again, the separation that happened many years ago is being connected through the music. And that's a beautiful thing because that's something that those powers that be can't stop. No one can stop that.
So true. Talked about the powers that be and everything. And one thing I agree with is how you mentioned that, you know, Jamaica and Africa, let me speak for Nigeria because I'm a Nigerian. We go through a lot, political, whatever it is, lifestyle. So the struggles we go through is kind of similar and everything. I don't know whether you were privy to a particular hashtag called NSARS. Back in, I think it was October last year, where, you know, basically it was about people speaking up about police brutality and everything. It happened in Nigeria back in last year, just a few months ago. And different people had different things to say. I think Lil Baby spoke about it as well. We had different people from the UK, America, even some dancehall artists had different things to say. So I don't know whether you're privy to exactly what happened back then.
Yeah, you know, for me too, in Jamaica, you know, people like Peter Tosh was beaten up 7 times by the police for just having a split, you know?
Yeah.
So we've experienced and seen that even our great artists or people who are very influential in our own community, we're treated like, you know, second class or even third class citizens. You know, it's unfortunate when things like that happen. You know, I'm very sad and overwhelming at times. It's hard to think that the people who you vote in don't have the same care for you as you would have for them. So, you know, I say that with each vote that you do have the power to change things. There's a lot of times where politicians talk a lot of stuff like I'm doing now, just blah, 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 and we don't tend to listen. And so I think it's important that the voters listen and try to sift out who are the people that actually do care about us, the people of the country. Because the voice of the people is the voice of God, man.
Exactly.
And you have to pay attention to that. So it's unfortunate the violence that the state has against the people more time, but we have the power to change that with the vote. So I encourage people to look into that a lot more than we are doing. Because I think in Jamaica we feel the same way. Sometimes we say, it's two parties, they're going to do the same thing. A lot of us feel nonchalant or non-caring about who wins anyway. But we need to start taking that into consideration a lot more, because there's some governments who stay in for a long time, and we shouldn't be complacent with that. We should be more aggressive when we are making our voices heard the vote. That's my opinion.
One thing you said, the voice of the people is the voice of God. I agree 100%. Yeah, so back to the music right now. I'm loving the new tune. It's called Boom by you. You want to talk to us about that for a bit?
Yeah, Busy Signal and myself. Boom is the name of the tune. It's my production. Big up to News from Money Matters. It's my label, but News from Money Matters produced it. News is the person who runs my label, and basically I'm gonna show him up right now. If you ever knew the early stages of dancehall music, there was a act or a group called Michigan and Smiley, and that was in '81. So Michigan is my boy. News is dad. Oh. So yeah, he got a lot of history in the music. He's been producing forever. And then we started to produce together about 5 years ago. And we came up with this one recently. It's called Boom. As I said, Busy Signal is such a dope MC, somebody or DJ as we call it in Jamaica, and somebody who I see as a very potent lyricist. This song is about, fun and partying. I think that the pandemic or, the lockdowns that we've been experiencing, we can't actually go out right now in Jamaica. We are having a spike, so we need to stay in and all of that. But I do think that people need music for the release. For me, music, every time in my life I had a problem, whether it be with a girlfriend, whether it be with my father went to prison, whether it be, there's too much schoolwork for me to handle at this point in time. All those things, I lean up on the music. It helped me out. And so I think, especially in this time when there's so much crazy things going on, people need music, and that's what we do. And so me and Busy got together and put out a nice feel-good song for the ladies, you know what I mean?
Feel good.
Yeah,
my vibe. All right. So, it's a fantastic record. But, your career spans, we're talking over 30 years or well over 20 years. Okay, you've been doing this for a long time, and being able to stay relevant has been one of your forte, if I can use that word. You want to talk to us about how you've been able to evolve that reggae dancehall sound with the kind of sounds that are coming out right now, because you've been putting out some songs and they have been getting mad airplays across the world, across Africa. I can tell you that for a fact. Like, how have you been able to merge that thing? Because we see you having songs with like Dua Lipa, you collaborating with Nigerian artists as well. So how have you been able to merge that sound? Because dancehall, couldn't really survive if you didn't like evolve it in a way. So how did you do that?
I was a student of the music, and I followed the history of the music. My teachers are people like Shabba Ranks and Super Cat, of course Bob Marley and Jimmy Cliff and these earlier pioneers for reggae music. But I watched what people like Shabba Ranks did, and Shabba was huge to us in Jamaica. We loved every song that he did at the time. But not every of those songs got on playlists or on the radio stations in those big territories. Like, the biggest English-speaking country to us is near to us is the States, is United States. And so, to conquer that territory, what he had to do was blend his music with R&B and and those type of things. So you heard Maxi Priest and Shabba, and you heard Johnny Gill and Shabba on the radio over there. But you didn't hear Ting-a-Ling and Trailer Load in those places because they weren't ready for that yet. So I understood that he had to blend the sound then. Also, Shaggy came along. He did the same thing. He sampled Cypress Hill, and he did Bombastic, and then he put the remix out with the what's his name, Marvin Gaye remix, with Let's Get It On remix there for the Bombastic, and he blended the sound in that respect again. And then they kind of broke open the door, those people, for people like Beenie Man and Tanto and Devante and myself to kind of come with a more hardcore sound. We were the next generation, and we came with a hardcore sound. And when I was doing that, I was just trying to make Jamaica hear a song from me and go, yeah, blah, blah, blah. You know, I wanted to be heard by my own country people, my own peeps, and not knowing that was the right time for international crowds to start seeking out more dancehall and being like, what is that sound that Shabba left us with? That you know, Shaggy kind of touched on. What is that? I want more of that sound. So they seeked it out, and Beanie and Bunty and people like myself came through. And then I blew up internationally after that with hardcore dancehall music. You know, Tony Kelly was someone he's helped to shape this genre in itself. And he put me on tracks like Deport Them and Like Glue. And those tracks blew up, you know what I mean? Also, after that, we did Temperature, which was actually a sound hit by, a rhythm hit by a 19-year-old kid from the inner city. His name is Isis. So it was for Snow Cone Production, but Isis is the kid that hit it. So when you look at that, people were ready for the hardcore sound then. And then about 2010, it started to change. People started to like dance music a lot. And I said to myself,
you had Clean Bandits,
I said to myself,
you had Sia, you did that in the 2010s, basically.
Yeah, so I started to say to myself, I gotta mix my music with this now to keep the fans that I have that are hardcore dancehall fans. I would have to put out the singles that they like, but also what I know was selling a lot more was dance music. So I started to work with the David Guettas and with the, you know, these other people to blend my music like I learned that Shabba Ranks did. That's all it was, to get in the airwaves and the earshot of people. You know, you mentioned Dua Lipa there just a while ago that I did songs with, and there's a Becky G, and I said David Guetta, and you know, Ellie Goulding and all these people. I worked with the Migos also. That was 3 years ago.
Clean Bandits,
and
Sia.
That was and that was and Sia, and that was a piece of work that I put out as an EP. But nowadays, I'm feeling the international community is more ready for more hardcore dancehall, and that's why I'm putting out songs like the song with Busy, the song named Boom, and the whole album called Live and Living, which just dropped on March the 12th, last week Friday. You know, a very great time now for me, I think, to push real hardcore dancehall music back on people, because I think they're ready for it. So it was just me watching those trends, and that's it. You know, to blend the sound is something that I think everybody does.
Yeah.
But when you don't give the accolades, like when I do make dance hall and dance music blended together, I give the accolades. I say, you know, this is inspired by what dancehall, by what dance music is doing now, or this is inspired by pop music, which is big all the time. So, you know, what I wish is that when people do dancehall music, they say that this is inspired by dancehall music. You know, I don't see Drake doing that. The only person in the pop industry that I see doing it, the only person I see doing it in the pop industry is Rihanna. So big up to her. She says she's coming through with a dancehall album, and I'm waiting to hear that.
We're waiting for
very
that
eagerly.
Yeah, Rihanna is from the Caribbean, so it kind of makes sense. And she does that a lot, to be honest.
Of course, but if she didn't even say dancehall and she just came with, I'm making a new album and put out all these tracks that are definitely dancehall, I would feel away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As I said, French Montana, Sway Lee, Ed Sheeran, Shawn Menendez, all of them have been doing these tracks that have the
But they
all
pay
of
no
that. You know
homage.
what I
They
mean?
pay no homage to dancehall. So
Yeah, no homage. So they should, and it's just a thing, man. But that's how it is. We'll still be a huge music, and the people like yourself will recognize it, and we will still continue to influence each other, bro.
okay, so one of the few questions, or one of the last questions I was gonna ask you is: now you talked about how you made, how you've been able to refine and evolve dancehall to basically fit today's market, and knowing that dance music is pretty big. But one thing that is pretty big as well is Afro beats. Now you get to see people like Drake. You mentioned Drake for example. He doesn't really pay
Yes.
homage like you said. He doesn't even with Afro beats, and that is why we're having a conversation about the Grammys and not being fully recognized the way we're supposed to be recognized. Now, is there something, or can we see something in the future, in the near future, where we're seeing Sean Paul having more collaboration with artists like Tiwa Savage, which you've had before, the Wizkids, the Burners, the Davidos as well? Is that gonna happen?
Yeah, actually, I have a song with Wizkid, but we both did it, and we both thought this ain't it.
For
And we
real?
put it on the shelf. We put it on the shelf.
You put it
So
on the
big up
shelf.
Wizkid. Yeah, we put that song on the shelf, man. It's an okay song, honestly,
Yeah.
and we wanted to have something really strong. Big up to Timaya. I've done work with him already. He's reached out to me to do more music. I've done work, as I said, with Fuse ODG. Uh, um, and Davido and me have been talking like, yo, let's do more work. We did a song the other day with Air Size, which is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
kid
yeah.
from Curacao.
Sweet and Dream
Uh,
Girl.
yeah. So we're trying to do some more work in the near future.
Yeah.
As I said to you, I'm a fan of Tiwa Savage, and I would like to do some work with her. Uh, there was something happening personally with her when I reached out to her, and she wasn't doing any music then. And so I'll kind of reschedule and see if she's ready. I'm
Okay.
down, man. I think, as I said, the music is symbiotic,
Yeah.
where the sounds from Africa, we tried to emulate them and ended up with making reggae and making dancehall, and then that now has influenced what you guys do, and the topics and how things turn around. So all respect to Afrobeat, all respect to dancehall. As I said, we continue to communicate, because
Yeah.
what we're actually seeing is actually the same systematic down pressure that we do have from the politics, from the classism, from the racism. It spills over into our music, and we just have to know that music is powerful, and it will push past these points if we all continue to work together in this relationship. You know what I mean?
Did you? One last question though. Did you enjoy working with Wizkid?
Yeah, man. We definitely want to do a tune back, but that song was not really Afrobeat, and it was not really dancehall either. So that's kind of why. I mean, our both voices sound amazing on it and together, but it was kind of like a more poppy track, and he didn't want to sound like that, and neither did I. So yeah, we look towards doing something new soon.
Okay, alrighty. So let's wrap things up. Are we gonna be seeing anything from you real soon, as concerns you put out a few songs recently, aside Boom as well. So are we gonna be seeing anything from you in the near future?
Yeah, man. I put out an album recently. It's called Live and Living. It features only dancehall acts, even one from Ghana. So big up to Stoneboy.
Yeah.
He came through on the song called Guns of Navarone. So yeah, all of those works that basically I did on that album is some new stuff. It features people like Butcher Bantan, Busy Signal, big up to Serrani and Movado, who are on the album. Left Side is on the album. Suko from Ward 21 is on the album. And then there's a new flavor of dancehall music like Intense and Governor, and people like Massacre and Skilly Bang appear on the album also, and Squash. So all who follow dancehall, and you know those names, you know that work has encompassed like a great what do you call it? A great sphere of like of the established sound of dancehall and also the new. I also am putting out a new album again in May. That album is called Scorcher, and it features more pop people such as Sia. Big up to Ty Dolla Sign that's on the album. Junior Gong is also on the album. Oh, he's on both albums. So big up to Junior Gang.
How about Intense? Intense.
Yeah, Intense is on the dancehall album.
Yeah.
Jada Kingdom is on the new album called Scorcher. So that album's coming out in May. And Gwen Stefani and Shensia is on one song on that album too. Yeah, so it's good. It's two big albums in the early part of the year. As I said, I did it just because I think people need music right now, man, and that's what I do. So
big shout out to you, Sean Paul, for this one. And just know that we right here in Africa will love you so much, and your music has been a huge factor in basically shaping Afrobeats in its own little way as well. So big shout out to you. And hopefully we get to see you. We get to see you in Nigeria pretty soon. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to come pretty soon again. I've been there 3 times, as I said. Yeah. Last time was a private show I did with Wizkid, and we haven't connected since. So I'm looking forward, bro. And big up yourself, and thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Big shout out to you, Sean. We'll do this again.
Salute, bro. Salute.
It's the Super Drive Time Show with Kaycee.